update. I want to bring in Democratic Senator Chris Coons. He's a key member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. He's also the national co-chair for President Biden's re-election campaign. Senator, thanks so much for joining us. How imminent do you think this Iranian retaliation could be? Imminent is a very, very powerful word. Could this be a multi-pronged attack from Iranian proxies, not directly necessarily from Iran?
Wolf, it certainly could. Hezbollah is one of the most capable, best equipped and armed of the Iranian proxies that are arrayed around Israel's borders. The Houthis in Yemen, who've been harassing civilian shipping in the Red Sea, Hamas, obviously, which carried out a barbaric attack on October 7th, and a whole series of militias in Syria and in Iraq. All of those are Iranian-backed, trained and equipped proxies throughout the region, any one of which could carry out attacks on Israeli and American interests. I am, of course, encouraged to see that our president is standing strong with Israel, sending one of our key military leaders to plan and consult, dispatching warships to the region, and making it clear publicly and privately to Iran that they should not think the United States will in any way step back from defending Israel from an Iranian attack.
Yeah, the commander of the U.S. military's Central Command, which oversees the entire Middle East, is now in Israel for those coordinating talks. The Pentagon, at the same time, as you know, Senator, is moving additional military assets to the region, to the Middle East. How high is the risk of all this spiraling into a much larger regional conflict, potentially involving the United States?
Well, that's been a significant risk since those October 7th attacks by Hamas terrorists on Israelis. And President Biden moved decisively 6 months ago by deploying 2 aircraft carrier battle groups of thousands of Marines and other forces to the region, and issuing clear and direct pushback to Iran at the time. And when militias attacked a number of American bases and facilities and personnel in the region, President Biden took action, and we haven't had any more attacks on Americans in the last several months. This is a real risk. Iran is a real threat to stability, security, and peace in the region. And the United States and our other regional allies, obviously principally Israel, need to stand firm. One of the reasons that Hamas carried out this horrific attack back on October 7th, 6 months ago, was to stop the recognition by Saudi Arabia of Israel and the potential reconciliation of Israel with much of the Arab world. That's long been Iran's goal, is to keep Israel isolated. It's important to remember that Iran has gone to great lengths to train, arm, and equip a whole series of proxies throughout the region that have continually contributed to chaos and destabilization.
Yeah, we saw some of that unfold, just a beginning part of it. Earlier today in the northern part of Israel, we saw those rockets, those missiles coming into Kiryat Shmona, the Israeli town in the northern part of Israel. On the Israeli settler attack in the occupied West Bank today, a witness tells CNN, Senator, that the IDF, the Israel Defense Forces, arrived on the scene but didn't stop the settlers. How should the Biden administration respond to that?
Well, I don't know the details of today's incident, Wolf, but broadly across the last couple of months, the administration has engaged forcefully when there have been incidents of settler violence that seemed to be, in some ways, either facilitated or tolerated by IDF, and in particular reserve elements. In fact, at one point a number of months ago now, the administration issued some visa sanctions against individuals who seemed to be inciting violence in the West Bank. The West Bank is a potential tinderbox, and there were recent press accounts that Iran had been smuggling weapons into the West Bank. I think it's important that we work closely with our partners in Israel to tamp down any possibility of either settler violence or of another wave of uprisings in the West Bank that could further destabilize the whole region.
Senator Chris Coons, thank you so much, as usual, for joining us. And